He is one of the most popular fighters on this roster, top to bottom. The former UFC welterweight champion, Ruthless Robbie Lawler, made the UFC debut, how about May 10th, 2002 at UFC 37 against Aaron Wright.
And right away, you had his coaches saying, this kid's gonna be a future UFC champion. He had all the ability. He had the wrestling chops, he had the striking, but he also had that meanness and that toughness that you look for in a fighter. And when he got back to the UFC after he left Strikeforce, the knockout of Josh Koscheck, and then the head kick of Bobby Volker, you knew you were looking at a different Robbie Lawler.
His fight against Rory McDonald, UFC 189, July of 2015, one of the best, most memorable fights in UFC history. Lawler looking to add to his appreciable legacy here tonight. Robbie Lawler, he has graced the octagon with his mind set on one thing tonight, that UFC championship belt. Well, if any modern-era UFC athlete is worthy of a Hall of Fame distinction, despite having never realized a UFC title, I would submit to you Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone. His resume reads like a UFC record book.
And he just keeps on getting better. Every time you think Cowboy is starting to get to the end of the road, he reinvents himself. He makes some small change to his game that allows him to compete at the highest level. The run that he went on after beating Alexander Hernandez, and then coupling that with the massive victory over Al Iaquinta, you thought watching that you were watching the very best Cowboy Cerrone you've ever seen. And this is at the tail end of a career that spanned over a decade.
And his new source of motivation, his son, Danger. These are very legitimate championship aspirations for Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone, trying to move one step closer here tonight. Our tale of the tape for this heavyweight championship fight. All right, now for the particulars, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's time! 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, presenting the challenger, Ruthless Robbie Lawler. And now, introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC Heavyweight Champion of the world, Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone.
Herb Dean, our referee for this one.
Ready. Let's do it.
Well, what a shocker. Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone is fighting tonight. Seemingly ends up on every UFC card, the most active fighter on the roster. And we've really seen a transition of his game since he moved up to 170 pounds. If a takedown opportunity materializes tonight, don't be surprised to see Cowboy jump all over. Oh, beautifully placed with the left hook counter. All right, so Ruthless Robbie Lawler, one of the best to ever do it, former UFC welterweight champion. And if you got extra points for you... Oh, and there's that double leg takedown. Lawler gets up, he is back on the feet. Looked like he was in a submissive state on the ground, but he worked hard there to get back to the feet.
Big shot, man.
All right, leg kicks are the weapon of choice early for this kickboxer. No surprise that he would try to attack that lead limb of the boxer, who all of a sudden has to make some adjustments in what he's going to start.
He's got to beat that lead leg up. He's got to limit the mobility of the boxer by kicking that leg over and over again. He did it early. Let's see if the boxer can start to pick up on it and try to check that kick so that he doesn't get beat.
He's out! Robbie Lawler with one of the greatest knockouts you will see.
Oh, my goodness.
Bruce Buffer has the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 54 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by knockout and new undisputed UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Ruthless Robbie Lawler.
Ruthless Robbie Lawler, the consummate fan favorite, and the power game was on point tonight, champ.
One of the toughest fighters we've ever seen in the UFC. When he came from Strikeforce, he was a new man and fought his way to the UFC championship.